Good evening and welcome. I call to order the Lake Havasu City Council meeting on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. We'll start with an invocation from Pastor Dale Ray with Lakeview Community Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Cindy Ritter with Military Moms. Pastor.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members and staff. When we need God's guidance, He has promised that as we seek His face, He will give that. The NIV tells us in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, for the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. So precious Heavenly Father, as we bow our head to ask, Lord, for your leadership, your guidance through your Holy Spirit, I pray your blessings upon our city in every way. I ask, Lord, that you will protect and keep from all harm our mayor, our city council members, the leadership of this city, all those who work for this city, that you'll protect the citizens as well. I do ask, Lord, that you would make them courageous, guide them in the decisions that need to be made for our city, that your will be accomplished in this wonderful place that you have planted us. To you be the glory and the honor and all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Good evening. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you so much, Cindy, for being here. If you'd like to share a little bit about your organization.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me. Military Moms is an organization that we take care of our veterans here in town, along with the Veterans Resource Team, and we take care of our kids that are actively serving the military. And we also work in conjunction with the Veterans Treatment Court to help any of those veterans that may need assistance with housing, rent, food, whatever they may need, along with our wonderful citizens of the community that may need help that are veterans. We also do that. We have paid out, with the VRT, we've paid out over $400,000 in the last 10 years. And that, it still blows me away because that money is all donated by the generous citizens of our community to all of our veteran organizations to give us the opportunity to do that. And it's amazing. So our community is amazing, and it makes my heart happy to be able to do what I can for those that have sacrificed so much for our freedom.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cindy, for what you do. Oh, yeah, please.
And one more thing. We do have the banner project had been approved, and we're waiting to get some banners so that we can start hanging them up on McCulloch around Wheeler Park. And you just have to be a child that has graduated from school here, and then you can fill out the application and we can get the banner started for you.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much for your partnership, for all the work that you do personally, and then Military Moms for the work that the organization does. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4 is roll call. Ms. Williams, if you please call the roll.
Council members Nancy Campbell.
Here.
Jenny Koch. Here. Jim Dolan.
Here.
Cameron Moses.
Here.
Michelle Lynn. Vice Mayor David Diaz.
Here.
Mayor Cal Sheehy.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5 is our consent agenda. Would any of the council members like to remove any of the items for separate discussion?
Mayor?
Councilmember Koch?
Motion?
Please.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Koch. We have a second from Councilmember Moses. We are ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is correspondence, communications, petitions, announcements, and the city manager report. Item 6.1 is to announce the vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. Ms. Williams.
Mayor and City Council, this item is to announce vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. There's currently one vacancy on the Board of Adjustment. It's an alternate member vacancy. Anyone interested can pick up a packet at City Hall, and they are also available on the city's website at www.lhcaz.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6.2 is our city manager's report. Good evening, Mr. Knutson.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, members of council. A few things to share with you this evening, starting off with a congratulations and farewell. Congratulations to Nathan Adler on his retirement after more than 26 years of dedicated service with the Lake Havasu City Fire Department. Nathan served in several important roles throughout his career, most recently as the fire marshal, and his leadership and commitment to public safety have made a lasting impact on our organization and our community. Nathan, we thank you for your outstanding service, and we wish you all the best in your retirement. Pleased to share that the Lake Havasu City hosted its first Doing Business with the City Lunch and Learn with more than 60 contractors and local business owners in attendance. The event provided valuable information on our procurement process, public works bidding expectations, upcoming project opportunities, and key risk management requirements. We value the strong partnership we have with our local contracting community and remain committed to transparency and collaboration. I'd like to thank Community Engagement Officer Jerry Bracamonte for bringing this event together. I gave her a theme and a concept, and she ran with it and put everything together and did a wonderful job. And of course, I would like to thank the speakers for the city that presented, which was Lynette Singleton, Jason Hart, and Brittany Bayless. So we are going to do something similar here in the near future. So stay tuned for that. Teen Break is right around the corner. It'll take place beginning on March 17th, and we're very excited to once again offer this long-standing and much-anticipated program for our teens in our community. This event will be amazing with activities planned for all 3 days that are certain to impress our local teens. Teens will have the opportunity to participate to win a jet ski thanks to Anderson Auto Sports and TAD Management. Yes, I said a jet ski. All of our sponsors deserve our gratitude. I'd like to thank the London Bridge Bullis, Relics and Rods, Concord General Contracting, Safeway, River Rat Radio, Havasu Flyers, Mather Brothers, Red Robin, Pepsi, and Buffalo Wild Wings. If any other local businesses would like to participate in the event, we ask you to reach out directly to our Parks and Recreation Department. We continue to make steady progress on Fire Station 7 and expect to receive the 90% design plans for review next month. This milestone represents a significant step forward as the project moves closer to construction. The contractor is anticipated to provide a not-to-exceed bid in April, and shortly after that, we'll be coming to council with that agreement, allowing us to finalize project costs and proceed with remaining approvals. If all continues on schedule, we could see a groundbreaking ceremony as early as June or July, making an exciting advancement and strengthening our public safety infrastructure here in Lake Havasu City. I'd like to highlight the efforts that took place at the 11th Annual Water Festival, where local fourth grade students participated in this engaging hands-on educational event. Hosted by the University of Arizona in partnership with Lake Havasu City, the festival teaches students about water efficiency, the water cycle, and the importance of protecting our valuable water resources. I'd like to thank Tim Kellett, our Public Works Deputy Director, for coordinating this event, along with the U of A, our staff, educators, and volunteers who help make this important program possible each and every year to inspire the next generation to be responsible stewards of our water. The Lake Havasu Elks Lodge 2399 held an awards luncheon on February 22nd to recognize student winners of the Americanism Essay Contest and the Drug Awareness Essay and Poster Contests. Mayor Shee had the honor of presenting the awards to these outstanding students. Pictured on the left is Millie Bracamonte, who earned first place in the fourth grade Drug Awareness Poster Contest. What a cute picture. And pictured on the right is Trinity Hart, who's very, very proud to receive an honorable mention in the sixth grade Americanism Essay Contest. We'd like to thank the Havasu Unified School District, Calvary Christian Academy, Telsis Preparatory Academy, and our Lake Havasu City Parks and Recreation staff for their support, and of course to congratulate all the students on all of their achievements. The community is invited to attend a ribbon cutting for the new fishing dock at Site 6. That's going to take place here in a couple of days. It'll happen on February 27th at 11 a.m. and in partnership with the Lake Havasu Area Chamber of Commerce ambassadors. The new fishing dock represents the latest phase of improvements at Site 6 and reflects our continued commitment to enhancing safety, accessibility, and the overall experience for residents and visitors. We're very, very, very appreciative of the support of the Mojave County Board of Supervisors and, of course, former Supervisor Buster Johnson for their investment in this important community asset. We encourage residents and visitors to join us in celebrating this exciting improvement to one of our community's most valued waterfront destinations. As a reminder, the city grows to move forward with the 2026 general plan update. We now have a draft general plan, and we're going to be reaching out to the public for a 60-day public review period, and that is now underway. It'll run from now through April 18th. The open house where we're encouraging our residents to stop by and learn about the draft document, provide comments, feedback, constructive criticism, and all comments are welcome. It'll take place tomorrow, which is February 25th. It'll be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., and it'll take place at the Mojave County Library in the community room. We'll be there to answer questions and encourage community participation. We'll have more events, so stay tuned, but this is a very important one. Again, this is the first unveiling, if you will, of the draft general plan. And finally, residents are invited to join Mayor Sheehy and me for coffee with the mayor and city manager on this Friday. Normally it's the first Friday. It's going to be the last Friday of this month on February 27th from 8:30 to 10 a.m. This informal gathering provides an opportunity for residents to learn about current and upcoming projects, ask questions, and share feedback directly with the city. Please note this meeting does replace the March 6th meeting, so we won't have a coffee on March 6th. This will replace that. And with that, Mayor and Council, that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Knudsen. All right, we'll move on to the public hearings. During each of the public hearings, we will have an opportunity for citizens to engage in comment and discussion with the city council. We'll open up the public hearing at each of those areas, and we ask that you just follow the timer indicators on the screens around the room. There will be a call to the public at the end of our public hearings. That'll be an opportunity for citizens to address the council on items within the jurisdiction of Lake Havasu City, and I'll go over the guidelines when we get to that portion of the meeting. So starting with item 7.1 is a presentation from Clifton Larson Allen LLP on the fiscal year 2025 audit results and any findings. Ms. Ware.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight's agenda item, like you said, was the presentation of our financial audit for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Our audit was conducted by Clifton Larson Allen. They're a nationally recognized accounting firm with a division specializing in government accounting and auditing. The team that supports us comes from Phoenix, is based out of their Phoenix office. And joining us remotely tonight is, this evening, is Jean Dietrich. She's our principal auditor on our account, and she'll lead us through the presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Ware. And then Ms. Dietrich, are you there?
Yes, thank you so much, Trina. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to present the results of the audit of Lake Havasu City for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2025. And Trina, are you going to present the
Yeah, I got it up there now.
audit, or is it seen now?
We can see it now.
Okay, thank you. So we perform our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. We do a risk-based approach to the audit. We identify where most risk would be. That would be the occurrence of your revenue, as well as the internal controls over financial reporting. Our audit includes findings and recommendations, and we work for you, council, but we work with management to get the audit issued, and I'd like to thank management. They are always transparent in their dealings with us as your external auditors and always timely in providing information and requests. Within your reporting package, there are 5 deliverables. First is our required communication to you as governance, your annual comprehensive financial report, which includes our audit opinions on your financial statements. We are in the process of finalizing the single audit report with our report of internal control over financial reporting, as well as a report over compliance for each major program. We also perform an examination over the highway user revenues and how they are used by the city. Then we do an examination of your expenditure limitation report, and that also is in the finalizing process. For our required communication to you as governance, we noted that there was one change in standard that was adopted by management, and that was the Government Accounting Standards Board Statement Number 101 for compensated absences. We worked with management on implementing the standard, and we're very comfortable, and we had no disagreements on the implementation. At arriving at your financial statements, there are estimates that can be deemed more significant or highly sensitive to management bias. One of those would be the city's self-employee OPEB plan. That's the other post-employment benefit plan that is administered by the city. Am I causing that?
The feedback's not too bad on our end. We do hear a little bit of ringing every once in a while, but not too bad.
In our evaluation of the estimate, we did not identify any management bias at arriving at the estimate, and we're comfortable with the estimate. In our report over internal controls, we noted that management identified one significant adjustment that resulted in a restatement of your second bridge fund for the allocation of investment earnings, as that was a new fund. Management has come up with a corrective action so that that error does not reoccur. And as I stated, we had no other difficulties in performing the audit. We noted no unusual transactions or fraudulent transactions. And we have the annual comprehensive financial statement report. Within your ACFR, you have your basic financial statements that we opine on each major federal program, as well as your statement of net position at the government-wide level and your statement of activities. We have issued clean, unmodified opinions on those reports, which is the highest level of assurance a CPA firm can provide. We also do what's called an in relation to opinion on the combining of funds statements at the back of your annual comprehensive report. We make sure that those agree in total to the non-major funds in the balance sheet, as well as in the statement of revenue and expenditures. In addition, management provides what's called management's discussion and analysis. We review that information to make sure that it's consistent with your financial statements, but because it is management's determination of the changes year over year, we do not opine on the MD&A, the management discussion and analysis. As a result of the single audit, we issued a clean opinion on your internal control over financial reporting and a clean opinion on your compliance for each major program in accordance with uniform guidance. We did have the one restatement, which resulted in a financial reporting finding, and we had one compliance finding associated with checking suspension and debarment. And as I said, management has come up with a corrective action to address both those findings. For the amount of programs tested, we tested two major programs, your coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, and your federal transit cluster, which totaled $4.3 million of federal expenditures, which were approximately 61% of total federal expenditures expended by the city during the year. For your highway user revenue fund compliance and examination, we did not identify any findings. We sampled disbursements made by the city using those funds, and we did not have any findings to report. So we find the city to be in compliance with the Arizona Revised Statutes, Title 28, Chapter 18, Article 2. For your annual expenditure limitation report, your annual expenditure limitation for fiscal year June 30, 2025 was $161 million. The total amount subject to that limitation for the year was $129 million. So the city was well within the expenditure limitation. And that is the results of our audit of Lake Havasu City for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2025. And concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Mrs. Dietrich. Are there any questions from members of the council? Yeah, Vice Mayor Diaz?
Hello, can you go to the required supplementary information paragraph? I think it's the second to the last page, I believe. It's kind of vague. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. I'm just reading the last sentence. It says, because these limited procedures did not provide sufficient evidence, we did not express an opinion. So can you clarify what you're saying in that whole paragraph there?
So you must have the governance communication letter regarding required supplementary information. Thank you.
Yes.
So what we can opine on is management's assertions of why items changed. And this is not unique to the city. For every annual comprehensive financial report, there are required supplementary information, which includes management's discussion and analysis. And I think for the city, you also have your pension and other post-employment benefit information. We do not opine on the actuarial estimates. That is done by a professional. We do not opine on that. And we do not opine on management's determination of the changes in the discussion and the analysis. Included in that is information such as forward-seeing information, such as what the expected outcomes are in the next fiscal year. So we do not opine on that. And that is consistent with the Governmental Accounting Standards Board's presentation of an annual comprehensive financial report. So if you go to any other city's ACFR, there will be a disclaimer on opinion for the MD&A as well as the RSI for pension and OPEB.
Okay, thank you. And then I have
so that's not a finding against the city. It's just common practice with the ACFR.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. And then under corrective misstatements, the very first bullet point on that same letter, that the investment earnings were not allocated to the second bridge fund in the prior year. So just my understanding is we did receive $35.5 million from the state legislature, and that's in a fund that's accruing interest, and all that money has to be used for the second bridge. Is this saying that we put that money in a different account and use it for something else? I mean, what are we saying there?
Jean, I can address.
What we're saying, okay, go ahead.
I can address that to somewhat. We moved the $35 million to a fund, which we didn't have to do. We chose to do that to keep it more transparent. And it's a major fund because of the amount. And when we did that, we didn't really discuss whether the interest should follow it. And then after discussion, after the fiscal year 2024 was over, we said, oh, we should have allocated the revenue that went with that $35 million. And it was significant because $35 million accrues a lot. So when we did that entry, it affected many funds, all funds actually that get that allocation. And we knew it was going to be a major issue or a major item would have some materiality for some of the funds.
Because I've been told that that's over $2 million in interest we've already our accrued funds from that money already. We got it in 2023. So I just want to make sure that all that money is going to be used for the second bridge and we're not using it for something else.
Yes, that's why we allocated it to this fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ware. Councilmember Campbell, did you have a comment or a question?
Yes, Mayor. And Vice Mayor Diaz, thank you for making that comment as well, because I was hoping that investment account would grow and then any overages we can continue to use, because I've noticed in other organizations, I'll just use this one, the PED got like $1 million, but all they spent was $1 million. And I'm over here saying, where did the interest go? Where did the interest go? Where did the interest go? So when I saw this, I was like, absolutely, I would think, and you're the auditor, if a government municipality gets a certain lump sum of money, either federal or state awards, and it should go in an escrow account, and whatever that escrow account or banking account or savings account accrues, shouldn't the interest go with them? Or can a government agency use that interest for other items?
Well, in the case of the second bridge, the interest is going with the second bridge project. So the journal entry that they just mentioned here was to ensure that that happens. So they moved it to a separate fund.
Right.
And so that's occurring for that particular
I wanted to ask her that, but is that normal in government, that if a government agency ends up getting a lump sum of money, should the interest that it accrues in an investment account over a long, because that one was held for almost 10 years. So again, I'm just asking a question. All funding that we get from federal or state entities or award money that's supposed to be allocated for one item, is that interest accruing inside that fund? That's my question.
It would depend on the project and what the restrictions are put on the project. Not all grants, not all funding. For example, your tax-based funding. Those aren't tied to a specific program, so any interest allocated that could go to the general fund or a portion thereof. And that's why the city correctly set up the separate fund. But because they had set up the separate fund, it was just missed in the annual allocation entry that was performed because the city uses pooled investments. So a separate bank account was not necessarily set up for Second Bridge. And so they corrected that by including the Second Bridge funds in the allocation calculation.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Ms. Olson, did you have something to add?
Mayor, just to follow up on that, most of other grant funds and federal awards that we receive, we get reimbursed. It's rare that we get the money up front, so the interest doesn't become an issue at that time.
That makes a lot of sense. But in some of these cases, if we do get it up front, we're going to try and grow that fund, like the bridge is what I'm hoping for, correct?
Yes, that's our
my
policy.
direction that I would hope would happen. Okay, the second question I would have, which I know we were in the retreat and recently we were told that we were at our meeting our estimated expenditure cap or limit, whatever you want to call it. And I thought they said it was closer to 3 million, not 32 million. We're at 32 million, or are we at 3 million? I must have heard you wrong. That makes a big difference.
What I was talking about at the retreat was how much was budgeted.
Oh.
So our budgeted expenditures were within. We were almost right at the expenditure limitation, but we have typically, historically come in under what we've been budgeting. So that's how we remain lower and well below our expenditure limitation. Once we do the audit, then we can see the actual expenditures as compared to the limit, unlike instead of the budgeted expenditures.
Well, thank you for that clarification. That does relieve me in many ways. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments from members of the council before we open the public hearing? All right. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? If so, just make your way to the podium and state your name for the record.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Kelly Lutz. For the benefit of the press, I'm a private citizen. I kind of wanted to go over a couple of those points that were talked about already. And let's just start with, if I have enough time, and it looks like I do. How long has these funds have been sitting in the account? In the general account?
Second Bridge?
Yeah, the Second Bridge Fund.
Yeah, Ms. Ware.
In fiscal year 2024.
Since this fiscal year 2024. And I think what I see is that you recently moved those funds into a special account.
We moved it to a fund of its own for transparency reasons.
Right. And when did you do that?
In 2024.
In 2024? Okay, so that's great. Now, you're the auditor?
No, I'm the finance.
I'm the auditor.
Okay. I see. So you work for the city?
Manager. Yeah, I work.
Okay. So you did put it in a separate fund as soon as it occurred, as soon as we got those funds?
No, we made the decision later. It wasn't like.
How long, what was that period of time between the time we received the funds and it got into its own separate account?
Well, we might be talking two different things.
Okay.
When I'm talking a fund, I'm just talking about recording it in a presentation way. Fund, as far as in a bank account, it's in our general bank account. We're investing it the same as we invest everything else. We have a pooled investment.
Right. So it got put in with the pooled investments.
Yes, and it still is.
And so I'm trying to understand the difference between how we would track the actual amount that we earned on interest from the bridge fund till now. If it's in the pooled account, it's very difficult to find out exactly how much we collected from that particular
We allocate fund balance at the end of the year.
Fund balance of the bridge fund or of the general pool?
We take our general pool.
Of the general pool, right.
And we allocate it based on fund balance between all the funds that get allocated fund.
Right, exactly but I'm not getting the answer that I'm asking. So I'm trying to understand how we would determine how much interest we have incurred of the bridge fund separately from the pooled account.
Please. We calculate that based upon the balance, as Trina indicated. We take the balance and we take the interest earnings over all of the funds and we allocate it to the funds so that they get their share, their appropriate portion of the interest earnings. When we determined that we wanted to after we created the special fund and made the determination that interest should have been allocated back to that fund, we did allocate it retroactively back to the bridge fund.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Is it retroactively? So it's actually more than the $666,000, correct?
Yes, because that was.
Do we have an exact number on that? I mean, there's been all sorts of numbers floating around. Do we know exactly what that is?
I don't know off the top of my head. That was for fiscal year 2024.
Okay.
So we would have done the same in fiscal year ending 2025.
So we would actually know what the balance is. I mean, because that account is all on its own. So everything that it incurred should be in that account.
Yes, it should be in this report, or the year-end report. It's part
For
of
fiscal year ending 2025, you're asking for real time. We're talking about the audit from the
2024. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. So we can get you that number, Mr. Lutz, if you want to reach out to my office tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I would assume that you'd all would want to know that number too.
Yeah, we have that number, but we're looking at the audit for 20.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council for any discussion or possible motion.
Mayor, motion.
Yeah, Councilmember Campbell.
I move to accept the Lake Havasu City Audit's annual financial report and audit results for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Campbell, a second from Councilmember Moses. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
And I want to thank the staff for continuing to do this. This is great work.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you, Mrs. Dietrich. Thank you, Mrs. Ware, and thank you, Mrs. Olson. We'll move on to item 7.2, which is professional services contract for the city's Parks and Recreation Department comprehensive master plan with Barry, Dunn, McNeil, and Parker LLC. Ms. Vera.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'm here to present to you what I believe to be one of the most important investments for our department since I've been here. And this really is the future of Lake Havasu City's Parks and Recreation Department and how we're going to be investing in our future in the department. So this comprehensive master plan is going to serve as our roadmap to the future. This will be our very first Parks and Recreation full comprehensive master plan for the department. which is a really huge milestone for us. As some of you may be aware, we have a Sarah Park master plan, which are just those site specific, but nothing fully comprehensive. So this is going to allow us to really serve the community and well past, for future decades. And we've never had a single unified data-driven plan that's going to be able to help us guide our growth, our investment, and evolve into the future. So. I don't think it's working, Kelly. If I turned it on. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay. So a master plan is a long-range strategic document, and it's going to evaluate our existing infrastructure, our existing parks, our existing facilities, programs, and services, while also engaging the community, our stakeholders, council, park advisory board, and even our tourists at that point too as well. So understand the needs and the priorities of our community. So it's going to identify any gaps, opportunities, challenges, and establish a clear vision and action plan for the next 10 to 20 years. This also is going to allow us, in short, to pretty much give us a guide map, a roadmap to the future for our department. When council is looking at future infrastructure, or the department brings something to council that we're looking to invest in, whether that is land acquisition, future park developments, future ball field developments, a pool, things of that nature, this is going to help council make those educated decisions on what actually reflects what the community wants. Okay. And then why we need it. So our community is growing. We have a really unique community in that we see higher counts of our winter visitors during the winter time, and then it ebbs and flows during the summer when our winter visitors are leaving. So we also have to combat making sure that we're catering to everybody who lives in the community. So with that, the expecting of changes, the high demands for higher quality parks, programs, and facilities. One of the things that's been noted recently is the need for adaptive and inclusive park infrastructure. And this master plan, that's something that's going to be highlighted in there. I'm pretty sure just a few months back, council, you'll remember when we had Councilmember Moses had brought to our attention a video from some of our moms in the community that were advocating and trying to educate for additional accessible features throughout our park system. This is something that's going to help us build that roadmap to the future to make sure that every voice in our community is being heard and is accounted for. So this plan is going to guide policy, budgeting, and investment decisions, ensuring that we're planning responsibly and making sure that we're not just taking care of today, but we're taking care of Havasu for the future. So this master plan is especially important because this helps us map out exactly what we need for the future. Some of the most critical recreational assets that we have are aging. Our department, we're hitting up above that 30-year milestone. We're passing that. Our building itself is over 30 years. If those of you who have been in the facility recently, you can see that there's always room for improvement. Our parks and infrastructure are aging, and this master plan is really going to help us invest and create a plan to make sure then that we're being proactive rather than reactive. So one of the things that we'll be looking at too is the Bridgewater Channel, which serves as one of the most iconic areas in the city. This master plan is going to help give that piece of land an opportunity for the community to come out and speak to what they hope to see for the future of that. We talk about ball fields pretty heavily with council, with Parks Advisory Board, and with the community itself. Some of those things then are going to be key pointed out in this master plan. When we're looking at making decisions based on immediate needs, a lot of what we're currently doing is built on reaction. We need to make sure that we're really investing in the future so we can make smart, educated choices as a department and as a city. So, and this master plan is going to help us do just that. So why now? So as we said earlier, the community is growing, our infrastructure is aging, demand for inclusive and accessible and high quality recreational spaces continues to increase. As we've expanded programs, we've seen the need for community members coming out. They love what the Parks and Rec Department is doing. They want to see more of it. And we want to be able to meet those needs as the community continues to grow. This planning really allows us to be proactive, and it ensures that we're making those thoughtful, informed decisions. So not only are we saving time, money, but also future resources. And then one of the reasons that Barry Dunn was selected was for their extensive experience working with communities across Arizona. They've worked with Kingman, Gilbert, Scottsdale, Mesa, Avondale, just to name a few. So they're really familiar with Arizona's cities, with the climate, with the clientele. They work in high tourist destinations. So this is going to be something that they're very familiar with. And I think they're going to be a really great partner in helping us build a plan that's going to really help elevate the department and plan for the future. So that big picture. So we want to talk about legacy. It ensures that we build, invest, and maintain today, serves the residents for the future, our kids of tomorrow, the Lake Havasu community for decades to come. So, and this is also going to provide us clarity and direction, and it's also going to give us a unified decision. There's nothing that the Parks Department is going to bring to council that they wouldn't already expect because it's built into that plan. And then I just wanted to kind of end it on a really great note, just kind of showcasing some of the amazing things that we've currently been doing with the current infrastructure, with our current team. You know, the families you see, the children you see, those are all memories being made. And that's through our Parks Department. It's through our partnerships. It's through our community members. And we need to make sure that those are the people that we're representing. Those are the people that we're trying to take care of. And those are the people that we're doing this for. I do also have representatives from Barry Dunn and J2. They're here to take questions and talk a little bit more about their agencies if council has any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Vera. Are they going to give a presentation as well, and then we can take?
They're here to take any questions that council may have.
Okay, well, maybe if you all want to come up and introduce yourselves and your role in it, and then I'll open up to council questions and then our public hearing.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of City Council. My name is Lakita Frazier, and if selected, I will serve as the project manager for the master plan update. Just a little bit about myself. I have a little over 30 years of experience in public parks and recreation, and have spent the last 5 years as a consultant, the last 3 with Barry Dunn. And what this master plan will serve as is the foundation, as Gabby shared, a full system inventory and condition assessment, capital improvement with cost estimates, and a 10-year implementation matrix with KPIs. So we're looking at an actionable document that contains more than just the inventory that you will actually be able to use. And I would like to introduce our partner in this project.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, appreciate it. Thank you for having us here. My name is Adam Hawkins. I'm a senior landscape architect with J2 Design. We're based out of Phoenix, and we've worked with Barry Dunn on numerous of those master plans that Gabby had mentioned previously. As part of the overall master plan, Gabby is really good, Lakita is very good about the overall data-driven aspects of the parks master plan. Once we kind of zone in on maybe a parcel of land that you guys are interested in, then that's our opportunity to put together some initial graphics, site plans for potential amenities that could go in that park. So again, we've had great success in the past, and we look forward to doing that here for you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. So from my perspective, we've been talking about the Parks Master Plan process for quite some time, and we've had it discussed in our last 2 planning sessions. So I'm glad that it's actually in front of us today for us to be able to take action and give direction on this in some way. But one of the ways I like to describe this process is that all too often the park system in Lake Havasu City has been driven by passion folks. So people that are passionate about whatever it is they're passionate about at that time. And so they drive that, whether that be Dick Sam Park, whether that be the pickleballs, whether that be Rotary, whatever that may be. The easiest example that I can provide is at Cypress, which we were part of. We had the soccer community that came forward, and they needed more fields for soccer. And although we moved at a pretty fast pace on Cypress, by the time we secured the land from the school district and then secured the financing and the funding to build it, the parents and the children that were passionate about driving it aged out of the system. They weren't even able to reap the benefits of that. Now, many other families have done so in the past, and it's been a great investment. But we'll be able to have the opportunity to have data to help guide decisions as a community, give certainty to parents and user groups and to community members, and really be able to have a vision for the future of our parks versus us looking at them based on each individual passion project that comes forward. That's not to say we aren't going to be nimble and have opportunities like Cindy Ritter mentioned earlier with the banner program for the veterans. That was us being nimble and using that system to be able to co-op and create that program. So those opportunities will still be there, but this will give us that roadmap. That's from my perspective. But are there any questions or comments from members of the council for Ms. Vera or the consultants? Yeah, Councilmember Moses?
Yeah. So who's going to be leading the public outreach, the community outreach? Would that be you, Lakita? Well, what are your plans for that?
We have a comprehensive approach to our engagement. And so we do not believe in just the showing up at the council meeting. We believe in meeting people where they are. We will work closely with the project team to identify where are those areas of congregation, where individuals are, so that we're able to take the website information to them. There will be a QR code where residents will be able to even scan and go right online and provide feedback. We will have a statistically valid survey that will go out to the community. We will work with the team to identify what would be the proper number. ETC will be our partner who has collected data all over the country for over 3 decades. So we have a very good database of information that we will build upon. Also, we will do focus groups and stakeholder sessions, and those can be in person as well as virtually.
Will you be doing site visits and,
yes,
and seeing, so when I say site visits, different fields, all of our assets, right?
All of your assets. We will be working closely.
Evaluating who's using it and when, and really getting a solid grasp on what is actually being used. Because I believe we have so many users, and some of them are in famine mode where they're requesting more than they need, just in case kind of deal. And so I think there will be definitely an analysis on what's actually being used, and so I'm hopeful that you're able to sift through some of that.
Yes, sir. We will definitely work with the team to look at field utilization, peak times, and even spaces that may not be utilized in other facilities, and make recommendations so that we can maximize our space and our resources, including our teams and our facilities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
To add to that conversation, Councilmember Moses, in our packet, and of course available on our website for any of our residents to follow along, it'll be phased into 8 phases: the project initiation and work plan, these existing conditions and assessment and systems inventory, community engagement and needs assessment, visioning, organizational and staffing assessment, the draft master plan development, public review, revisions and presentations, and then the implementation framework and the closeout. So it, as Ms. Vera had mentioned, it's pretty comprehensive when it comes to that.
And I do want to add, and Lakita, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the things that I've seen just from reading through the RFPs, they do a lot of pop-up events in the community. I think at one point, one of your consultants dressed up as the Blues Brothers. And so it's really engaging and fun, and it gets the community out, and we're doing things that are going to appeal to them, instead of just making it so we're going to collect data this way or just do a survey. It's Parks and Rec. We want to keep it light. We want to have fun, but still gather that data.
Vice Mayor Diaz?
When was the Sarah Park plan? That's 2015 or 2016? When did we do that? Who said that?
2018.
And was that a third-party consultant we used for that also? For that Sarah Park plan?
Yes. That was not done internally.
Vice Mayor, I think the Sarah Park master plan was a design for future fields in that area, specific to that area. The city engaged in the design for that project. I think it was close to $1 million for design. I came here in 2018, and one of the first things, hard conversations I had with the council and with the community and the Parks and Recreation Board at that time, is that we didn't have a fully funded CIP. So the city had spent money on a design at Sarah Park, and we didn't have any funds in the CIP to actually build per the design. So that was a difficult conversation to have at that point, but that's where we're at with that one.
And thank you for that, City Manager. So, and thank you for the presentation, Gabby. I see a lot of the points that you're making, but I also, I'm going to just say, I see a lot of things that we already know what we need. you've identified a lot of the things in a good blueprint. I just can't get over the $250,000 for this to get a third party consultant to tell us what we need: baseball fields and open space and where the land is at. We know where all these things are at. We have a community that's so involved, and I think if we just put a good steering committee together, like we did for the general plan, and just get input from everybody. I just can't get over the $250,000 price tag for this. It's really, I've been looking at that for a few days now. I just can't get over that price tag. I'm sorry. That's just, and we have so much other things that we say we don't have money for, and we're going to spend $250,000 for a plan for someone to tell us where we need to put baseball fields and open space and soccer fields and bike paths. And I think we're doing bike paths with the MPO, aren't we? And then we have a general plan that identifies open space. I'm right now, I'm just getting a hard time to get to this $250,000 price tag.
Yeah, I can appreciate those comments. You know, some of the comments you mentioned, Vice Mayor Diaz, is just one component of the plan. It's a comprehensive plan that's going to be much more detailed, but I can appreciate it. The cost is it was surprising to me as well. Ms. Vera, do you have some information on what these types of plans cost and some of that, or maybe Ms. Frazier?
Yes, sir. What we're looking at, as I shared with you all, is that we're not just looking at the master plan as one document of assessment. What we are presenting to you is the full system inventory and your condition assessment. Meaning we have trained individuals that are going to come out and going to highlight the safety areas, the gaps in your facilities, as well as recommendations to ensure accessibility for all individuals, level of services, and benchmarking against national organizations, as well as the access-based pop-ups, the focus groups, the multilingual tools that we'll provide, as well as the capital improvement plan with the cost estimates that will require us to do additional analysis and provide you with the proper costs as you're planning as a council. The capital improvement plan with those estimates also includes an organizational and staffing assessment where we're going to be looking at all of your Parks and Recreation team members, their job descriptions, the overall organization and how it currently flows, as well as your recreation program analysis, the number of programs you're offering, where you're offering them at, and overlaying that with your population using our GIS specialties, funding and partnership strategies, and lastly, a 10-year implementation matrix with the KPIs. So this is all bundled into one effort instead of individual multiple standalone documents that would be required for your entire system.
And with all due respect, I'm not trying to debate you on that, but we have a park director, we have an assistant park director, we have assistant city manager who the park director reports to. We should be able to be knowing how we're staffed and how we're spending our efforts and the programs we have. Well, I don't understand why we have to outsource what I think our staff should be doing already.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm flattered that you think that we would be able to do all that in-house. I do. There's just so many different components that looking at this, and I want to kind of go back to the sticker shock of it all, right? That $250,000. That's more than I would say average for most master plans. There's other agencies that have paid $400,000, $500,000. Some of the RFPs came in around that number too. So I also want to keep that in mind as well. I will say that there is some things that I feel comfortable doing as a department internally. We know we need ball fields. We know that we could benefit from another indoor rec facility. So those are the obvious key indicators, right? But I wouldn't be able to map out the next 10, 15 years for what this department's going to look like. And this agency is going to be able to do that for us. The influx of people moving into the community, the demographic is changing. Those are things that they take into account.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Dolan?
Just a perspective as well. I do feel that the 250 is a lot for something like this, but on the other side of the coin, this does create government transparency. We're bringing in an outside, just like we've spent all that money for that audit company just to make sure that we trust the people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's the same thing. We did the same thing with Public Works a few years ago. Instead of like, oh, everything's fine, and then we switch directors and we don't know. So sometimes we do need a fresh set of eyes to come in and evaluate things. And I think for that amount, for our parks, we are, a beautiful recreational area with amazing parks, and I would really like us to stay on top of that and make sure we are taking care of them. And And, everything here was built by the cheapest contractor many years ago, so I think it is, I do like the idea that we are going through this with a fine tooth comb, making sure that, we're managing our assets properly. I also, like I said, I think the money's a lot, but my perspective on it is it does give us that transparency. We have outsiders coming in saying, well, wait a minute, why did you spend this? Why did you do that? We didn't know that. Well, Ed never told us we did that, 20 years ago. But, those kind of things. So like I said, just for a different perspective, I like the government transparency that we have people come in and it's kind of an audit on our park system and also, what are other cities doing and things we haven't thought of. And, our staff is handling the day-to-day operations. And this is that bigger picture that I personally think we need. So.
Thank you. Councilmember Campbell?
Yes, I have a real hard time with the $250,000. I think some of the best laid plans are within staff. I think over the years my companies have developed and evolved, and it's all based on my customer base, my staff, getting to know them, giving proper protocol in place. I know we have even a maintenance supervisor, Mr. Reynolds, who's highly qualified to go through all of our parks and see what they need. I could already tell you I would rather spend the money on maintenance. I can walk through our parks today and tell you the bathrooms, the fences, the parking lots, if your playgrounds are starting to deteriorate, we should have hired staff within house that are capable of identifying the issues. Talking about 10 or 15 years from now, who even knows where we're going to be? I know that there's been too many studies that have been wadded up and thrown in the trash. Now, a study that is important to me is our water infrastructure. A study that is important to me is our wastewater. I want those items to lay over a GIS map and give proper directions for generations to come. This here seems like just another want list. Of course, bring all the citizens to the table. We'll build building pickleball courts, swimming pools, thousands of dollars. And you know what? Our roads are failing all around us. Our infrastructure is crumbling in our alleyways. And right now, this is our topic. We're more worried about what a park looks like in 10 or 15 years from now. That's where I have a problem. I think we still are following that. We want this, we want this, we want that. I ran for city council because my family gets to watch what our roads look like and what the infrastructure is underneath it. And to me, until this city makes that a priority, I'm going to continue to lobby for it. And when it comes to things like this, maintain our parks. And as soon as we can maintain our parks and we can be proud of our parks and our parking lots and everything and every user is safe in our parks, our staff has several layers they didn't have 5 years ago. They should be managing what we've hired them to do. And I know they're qualified to do it. That's my opinion. And for now, I don't think we have the extra money for a 10 or 15 year plan. I don't.
Thank you. So the plan, we have been talking about this, it is in the budget. So we're already planning out, we do have money set aside in the CIP budget right now for any of the implementation pieces. But Councilmember Campbell, as you and I have spoken in the past, we're multifaceted. We're not just a roads division. We have to look at all aspects of quality of life for our community. And so we have to be able to properly plan so we can properly invest and make sure that we're doing it right the first time.
And I agree in planning. I was absolutely shocked when I was in DC and I heard the story that we spend 0.5% of 1%. So 1/2 of I don't know. That's what they told me. 1/2 of 0.5%. It was ridiculous on planning for roads and infrastructure. That's what we're doing. And I'm over here saying, get the GIS maps. We're doing them. Get the water infrastructure. Let's put them in place. Let's get the general plan in place. Let's do a layer over the top of that. And you know that when we have a water main break, it is an emergency break. We have to hire an emergency. I know them, the welders that have to drop in this hole who get paid enormous amounts. And I've had the staff tell me, well, they've got to be happy they're making that much more money because it's an emergency break. That needs to stop. And I'm not going to stop and saying this over and over. You know how much money we are wasting on emergency breaks? So again, you say we're multifaceted. I say we're not. I think we're failing the citizens in our roads and infrastructure right now. I do.
Fair enough. But the good news is we're doing the water main replacement on Tacoma right now, and citizens are seeing that. We've been investing in water main replacement. So again, we are multifaceted. There are multiple things that can work concurrently at the same time. So unless there's any additional comments, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. All right, so this is a public hearing. You didn't have to stand up, but we did have one. So Ms. Donna Bess Carlton, if you want to start, and then we'll open it to anyone else that would like to join in the conversation.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Donna Bess Carlton. I came with what I was going to say, and I've listened to council. Having worked with the city of Parks and Recreation for 32 years, I've been through many a study, many assessment, many where we met with the public and had groups and the time and everything spent on it. We currently have a 2016 study that has been sitting on a shelf because when it came back, we couldn't afford to do anything that was in that study, pretty much. I think we got a bathroom that had a concession stand attached and a new road into the back of Rotary and some new parking. I think that's what we got so far out of that study. Now we also have a 2018 study for Sarah Park for a sports complex that is sitting there that we've already paid for. And now we're asking to spend more money on more studies when you're absolutely right. I know you said cheap construction on some of our parks that were a mistake, but the only area I see that in right now is the Commons area. Okay, that's one we're going to have to go backwards and fix some things. And anytime you don't do it right the first time, it's going to cost you way more money to go back and fix it. That's what we all have learned and know. Now you say doing it the right way. Well, Dick Samp, when he was a director, it was in his job description to assess, plan, and develop parks and recreation facilities. That was in his job description. I don't know what's in our director's job descriptions nowadays, but I know it was in his. And he built an award-winning Rotary Park that won national awards and still to this day is one of the best parks in the state of Arizona. He built an aquatic center, a recreation facility. He did North Park. He did, the list goes on and on. The walking path out on the island, State Park got turned into London Bridge Park. Look at all the things they did just almost in the first 10 years he was working. Okay. And we did it in-house. We didn't use a master plan for some of the greatest things we've already accomplished. Okay. So we've got a 2016 already assessment and plan sitting on a shelf somewhere. And we could pull that back, reassess, because we've got to add things. Things have changed, and they change all the time. Our recreation needs from newborn to our elderly change. You've got e-bikes now in the picture, okay? So we had bike trails. We knew that. We needed walking paths then, bike trails. We had all that. Now we need to include what we're going to do for e-bikes, but we could pull that plan we already have and look back at Sarah Park. Now they say we're going to have to use reusable water because Lord knows where's the water going to come to do our parks and our fields? We need it for our citizens, first of all, right? So we're going to do reclaimed water. It's $1.5 million to do the infrastructure just in the pipeline out to Sarah Park to do that complex and those fields. And that is 6 miles out there. Okay. So you do the math. Then I want to put something in front of you. All right. The school is ahead of us. They're already proposing a bond. And Steve Greeley, who I talked to today, and I also researched it, a lot of city governments and school districts go into a bond together because the only reason we haven't done that sports complex out there is because we were told that we didn't have the money. Well, let's go find the money and let's get that done. Meanwhile, while we're working on our roads and other things, but let's find different money for that sports complex for these people in our community that have waited for, here we go, another year, another study, and the prices are just going to go up. If we couldn't afford it in 2016, we're not going to be able to afford it now. We've got to start moving forward. Steve Greeley said the school is still in the very beginning stages of their bond. Bonds do much better when they partnership with their government, their local government, and everybody benefits. And usually bonds are passed because now everybody's getting something. Hey, these people are getting their fills. These people are getting their e-bike path. These people are getting their new pool, possibly, if we can get the original pool up to par. I'm just saying, please rethink. Take a look at maybe some other directions that we could take to start. We can't waste any more time. We need to start moving forward and get some of this stuff done. You said our children are aging out. Well, add in another year only to find out we can't afford it. We're just more kids and more children and more family and more adults who come here for their recreation are going to age out. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the City Council on this item?
Good evening, Council. Kelly Lutz again. Fiscal responsibility. That's what the citizens are looking for. Along with streets and infrastructure repairs, that's what they're looking for. They're not looking to spend $250,000 of our money on a study. Ms. Vera said that, actually implied that she's not capable of coming up with this plan on her own. Well, that's what she's hired to do as a department head. Chief Sterling controls his department and comes up with his budget. Chief Palapis does the same for the fire department. That is her job to do these things. It's her job to assess the staffing requirements. It's her job to assess the conditions of the parks. It's her job to look at future revisions and draft a plan. It was her job when she asked for, let me catch my point, $10.7 million for the next 5 years out of the general fund to do the projects that she has coming forward. And 3.4 of that, additional 3.4 is sought in additional grants for the park. So there's a pretty good plan going forward for the next 5 years. And the parks director did that, put that together. So she is capable of doing that. We don't need $250,000 spent on that. We need $250,000 spent on something else. Obviously, this money can be spent better and serve the community better. And I would hope the City Council can see that. Yeah, we're asking you to be financially conservative and financially responsible. Start spending the money on what we need and what we don't, and not what we don't need. Let me make sure I covered all my points here. I think that just about covers it. I think you understand how I feel. But yeah, we're asking you to be financially responsible with our money. And $250,000 in the wrong direction for something we don't need, it takes it away from something that we do need. So start voting for the people and what the people want and what the people need, and not what some park director says she can't do on her own, which she can. $10.7 million and $3.4 million in grants coming forward in the next 5 years. She's taking care of it. Let it continue the way that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the City Council on this item? Yeah, please just make your way to the podium and state your name for the record.
Hello, Mayor. I'm Deborah Hunter, but I missed the point. What is your fiscal budget for the council retreats?
What is the amount budgeted for the planning session?
No, for your council, your retreats and stuff.
I don't know if I understand, Ms. Hunter, the question.
How much do you budget for your council retreats? I missed that when they were discussing it earlier.
Yeah, so there's one planning session that we have, and then we have 2 budget work sessions that are...
During a course of a year?
Yes, during the course of a year.
And what is the budget for...
Yeah, I don't have that question. I don't know if Ms. Olson or Mr. Knudsen.
Does she know it?
The auditor is no longer with us now that item is passed.
Okay.
But we can, Vice Mayor.
Those are done. Those are held here locally. We don't travel for those. There's no hotel stay. Our retreat is done here. No, they're done here.
Oh, no. Yeah,
they're done here. Unless you consider Chagru's Hawaii, but no, we.
Yeah, Ms. Hunter, you actually attend it.
Yeah.
our only retreat you attend at Chagru's. So. Yeah, so that's, yes, yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Don Wisdom. The question coming across my mind, this $250,000, is that just for a survey of what we need to have done, or are they doing anything?
Yeah, so the scope of work are those 8 points that I went over earlier. It would be a comprehensive comprehensive plan for our Parks and Recreation Department, covering those 8 different plan, correct. And then
no work, no WRK.
Yeah, there is work in it. So it'll outline the different capital investments for 10 years with cost estimates, what the layout could look at. It'll have community feedback. There's lots of components to it, but it's a comprehensive plan.
Well, you and I have been friends for a long time. We seem to spend a lot of money on plans and surveys and blueprints and whatever. I'm confused of what we're really spending money on. We're going to build something with $250,000. I'm going to get more paperwork, like someone mentioned, put it on the shelf. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, just for some perspective, Mr. Knudsen, how much was the Sarah Park amount? It was multiple millions of dollars. It wasn't like it was put on this shelf because of $250,000.
Mayor, members of council, so you're talking about the proposed cost that was identified that process. I'm going back a couple of years, strictly off of memory, but it was somewhere in the midst of $22 to $24 million, I believe, and about a significant amount of that, $10 to $12 million, was just moving dirt, just grading, before he even started the construction of the sports complex. So don't hold me on some of these numbers, but this is off of memory, and we can certainly circle back.
But just for perspective, yeah, to get context.
Yes.
So 23 million. Did it include the infrastructure to get the reusable, reclaimed water out there?
So, Ms. Bess Carlton, this is purely off memory. I don't have that information really in front of me. If you reach out, I'm happy to share all that. We could break it down and share that.
And then I know that I don't know, about 100 loads, 10 yards each of dirt that was moved from the Commons Park out to the island. Is that still there?
It was 880 dump truck loads.
880 dump truck loads.
Yes.
At 10 yards a load.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of city property that's sitting there that if we still own it, we haven't done something else with it, could be used out at Sarah Park for those sports fields. Might be a drop in the bucket, but it'll save us something. But I would be interested to know if maybe I could get with you tomorrow, just a phone call, and tell me whether that 6 to 7 miles worth of piping that would serve all of Sarah Park. So save all of our city, and we'd have reclaimed water now, because right now we can't use reclaimed water out there. We're using regular water. And so that would save the city a lot of water. So I want to know if that 23 million cost hit that project done. And like I said, we can reassess it. We can maybe not do the recreation complex center that we were looking at. We can maybe look at just what the actual need is right now. Getting reclaimable water out there and having some new sports fields. You know,
Ms. Carlton, I'm sorry, you only get one opportunity, but we appreciate what you're talking about. Also, the reclaimed water also would be a different enterprise fund. So, points taken. We understand your position. Yeah, Ms. Toy.
Bonnie Toy, Mayor, City Council. I researched a little bit online last night or the last couple days, because I have to tell you that $250,000 for a parks plan sounded really expensive in my brain cells. Like, you could probably hire 3 people locally for that same amount of money and just put them in charge for a year and have them dedicated to working in the park system. And then you would have 3 people who would be earning income in Lake Havasu City. They would be spending money in Lake Havasu City. They would, I just saw the benefits when I looked at that price that way. And then I, out of curiosity, went to last year's price thing for the general plan. And the parks plan deal is for just the parks department, but the cost of the general plan for the whole city and for it to get onto a ballot is $225,000. You might want to hire those people. Just like to, that's 200. I mean, that's $25,000 less money being spent out. And then I looked at the website again, and I was looking for the root out study, because the root out study also included the Bridgewater Channel. And do you know the root out study is no longer at the city's website? Which also leads me to this one question. How long does it take to switch websites? Because I was told last year that the website was being updated or changed, and it hasn't been changed yet because some of the older things were not going to be there, like the REDAT study, and then the newer things still aren't being put in there.
So you changed a little bit of direction on me there. So
I understand, but it was because
but,
it was because of looking for the REDAT study.
Sure. Yeah. So the REDAT study was not an effort of the city. The city was a partner in it, but it was brought forward by a local architect who worked with the American Institute of Architects to bring that REDAT team here. That is a very valuable plan. It's available and accessible. You can reach out after the meeting and we can find out how to get you a copy. I haven't seen it myself in several years, but we can get you a copy. Maybe you didn't find it. I don't know if it's on the website or not. We are in the process of updating our website. So that's where we stand right now.
Do you? I was just curious how long it was going to take to finish the update to the website.
Come see me tomorrow, Bonnie. We're not here to talk about a website tonight, so I don't have that information with me, but I'm happy to provide it for you.
Okay. And then, yes, I did say about the cost, and maybe you can find a different.
Yeah, so when it comes to the general plan, the general plan is able to build upon the current general plan that we have. So when it comes to the foundation, there's foundation to the general plan, which is one of the reasons for the cost. I asked that same exact question that you did, and how come the general plan amount is less? And there's foundations built into the current 2016 general plan that we're operating under that they can start as the basis for the conversation for the 2026 and the stakeholder meetings. We don't have any of that now. What you've heard tonight about some of the plans we have for parks is we have them for certain areas, certain projects within certain areas, but we don't have a comprehensive master plan that takes a look at facilities, parks, recreation, services, and programs. And we've done some similar planning in other departments. Actually, our item that's going to be right after this will be a water master plan. So there's several areas that allow us and help support our dedicated and talented city teams across all sectors to be able to operate in a transparent way that gives a roadmap for the future.
But you, one question also, the Sarah Park plan, when you said it was $23 million, isn't that the cost of what it would have been to create the whole park and redo that, and not the actual thing that's being suggested tonight, a master plan? Was it $23 million for a master plan?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that was actually to build it, but I wanted some context out there of what the dollars were, of why it seems like that may have been shelved. It was multiple millions of dollars.
The plan to bring it forth to fruition was multiple millions of dollars. The design plan, the master plan for it, was not multiple millions of dollars. Right. They're not building any kind of things that are, you're going to pay them $250,000 for essentially the same thing you got for Sarah Park, that you're sitting here telling us that Sarah Park was too much and so you couldn't do it. So what happens if the plans that they come up with next year, too much, can't do it? Is it going to sit on the same shelf as the Sarah Park plan?
This is a multifaceted, comprehensive plan that's going to allow and inform decisions for the operations and future development. The CIP portion of it, or future development, is just one component of this plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the City Council on this item?
Right there. I promised myself I was going to just sit in the back of the room tonight and mind my own business, and I got upset because everybody says I'm getting upset lately, which I'm not. I get more people worried about me than my kids. It's a lot of money, and we all know that, okay? And with every, I don't want to try and start any rumbling here, but we do it for the fire department, for the big look of what we want it to be. And the reality is, Councilman Campbell asked the question, is there anything that this told us that we didn't know? And I think the answer was no. We know what we needed, and I'm not picking on the fire department or anything like that. You got some talented people here, and I know Cameron and I have had a couple of conversations about parks and some good stuff that's going on. I think you have to take a break. It's a lot of money. You got to decide what's important here. You know, financial responsibility or fiscal responsibility is important. You're right. The roads are, I mean, you're doing a great job on the roads. I always come in here and talk about the fantastic work that you're doing to repair this infrastructure. That's where it has to be focused. I'm not saying don't do anything in the parks. I was a kid at one time, whether you want to believe that or not. But we all were, right? And I think there's some things we need to do, but we don't need a $250,000 survey. I think you know what you need. You get some competent people here in the Parks and Recreation Group. I've seen some of the work they do. I've used the parks. You got to use that talent. Use the talent. Make somebody the champion, the executive sponsor. I think you ought to do it, Cameron. You ought to be the executive sponsor. But anyway, all I'm saying is you don't need to spend all this money. Let's get realistic. Let's focus on the things we need to get done, the critical items, and then we can go back and do some other things we'd like to do, or the nice to haves. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the City Council on this item? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council for any discussion or possible motion.
Just a point of clarification.
Yeah, Councilmember Campbell.
A point of clarification. If I understand correctly, you made a statement that it would include the cost analysis for these projections, and I don't think that's part of it. I think I heard her say that that would be an additional cost. What she is putting out and presenting to us, maybe she can come up for a point of clarification and say that I don't think that we're going to get cost analysis on what it is to fix all this at this point, or is that an additional fee?
That is a part of the initial contract that is before you. It's not an additional fee.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah, Councilmember.
May I make a comment, please?
Yes, please.
I love that so many people are here who care about our parks. It's a huge thing for me too. There's nothing greater in my mind than the couple of moments I've had just sitting there at Cypress Park watching my kids play soccer, sunsetting in the background. It's the most beautiful place on earth. Same thing with Rotary. I agree that we have some really talented people. I agree that we could do some of this in-house, and we've done a lot of things in-house. The point to having this general overarching master plan is a couple of reasons. One, if we had this master plan, they might have been able to tell us that, hey, your Sarah Park idea, that's crazy. That might be a little too expensive. That's the most mountainous area that you could pick to do flat fields. Maybe pick a flatter area. If we had that master plan in place, maybe we don't waste as much time on Sarah Park. And then also, I think we need some people to delve into the data. I'm with you guys. You want to listen to me? You just want to do whatever I say? I'm down. Let's do it. I hate all these plans. But at some point, literally with Mr. Lutz, at one point in the night, we're talking to each other about something, and he tells me I'm an idiot for being willing to put the pool next to the aquatic center. And I proceeded to tell him that he's an idiot for wanting to put it on the other side of town. I'm glad we have that kind of relationship, Mr. Lutz. But the point is we all have opinions about what needs to happen. But we need somebody who's actually, because I guarantee you he didn't do a cost analysis of what building that pool there versus acquiring some land and building an aquatic center on the north side of town. And I didn't do, you know what I mean? I'm only looking at the cost analysis of what's being given to me. I didn't do that. It was given to me. The point is we need people, smart people. I flip burgers for a living. We need smart people to tell us, to give us plans and give us cost analysis and evaluate all these things. Yes, I've gone around and I've done audits of who's using what field and when, and why can't, hey, they're not at Starline right now, why can't these kids practice here? I've done that, but we need a comprehensive version of that. And that's what I'm hoping they bring. I'm with you. $250,000. I've been begging to get this behind us so that we can get to work on what I really want to get moving on. But bottom line is if we move forward without it, we're just going based off of my opinion. And we need some data behind it. Otherwise, we're just shooting, taking our shot and see what happens. And yes, we've done some amazing things, but there's been some screw ups along the way too. One of the things when the adaptive needs, moms were coming to me, they're like, we can't wheel our wheelchair through that tire pit. I'm like, how stupid are we to not think about to not think about that when we put adaptive needs toys in our parks? I'm hoping this master plan can save us some money down the road, because now we put all that stuff in, and now I'm trying to figure out, like through my Rotary group, can we find some grants to go fix that? Because it's just ridiculous. We need a plan. Otherwise, we're just two dudes on the phone talking smack to each other, calling each other idiots over whose plan is better.
Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor, I think we bring up, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of, I wasn't a big fan of the design of the park downtown and how we did it. But you know what, it was designed by an architect firm that said, ooh, wouldn't it be pretty if we did a circle and a square and spikes of death? Okay, maybe had we had a plan in place for this and they look, hey, you got a really nice piece of grass on McCulloch. Have you thought about using it this way, that way, this way? And then maybe we wouldn't have had to hand it over to an architect that had to design their vision and with a park and driving this way. And then, can it just be functional? So I guess, that is a double-edged sword to this. We need plans. And I hate plans that just, we put something on the shelf and we don't use it. But I'm also a business person and I try to do as much things as I can in-house, but there's nothing worse than trying to do something in-house and then screwing it up. And if you just paid someone from the beginning, it would have been a heck of a lot cheaper. So like I said, I mean, if this is going to be our plan, that we're going to push back to the staff and be like, it's on you to handle your guys' departments, then I think we got to do this across the board for everybody. Like, everybody has to handle their own departments, and we're going to elevate one over the other instead of just, like I said, and maybe if that's the case, we would spend less money on some of these plans. I think we should spend less money on architects, but I don't know, just another side of the coin. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I don't know, but I also looked at the park on McCulloch and didn't think that was a great design, but that's what the architect wants and that's how they do it. And like I said, I think this also takes the needs of the community, because like I said, that was a very valuable asset. And I think there's definitely some people that thinks we didn't use that asset appropriately for what it was. I would hate for us to make that same mistake with the other assets we have in this community. These parks, we'd have some beautiful pieces of lands and parks, and I'd really like us to have a plan, spend some money on it, make sure, because I see it as an investment. And like I said, I hope this isn't one that gets tabled. Our park system is really important. And I hope because we can also spend a lot of money on it by not staying ahead of the curve. So thanks.
Councilman?
Yeah.
I agree with you. That was an architect, but the reason why we paid him so much money, because he was supposed to have all these steering committees and he was have some stakeholder agreements, and we all showed up and we all were supposed to voice opinions, and I voiced a bunch of opinions, and you guys have heard me, they threw them all in the trash. They didn't listen to one word I said. And so they got paid more because they were supposed to engage the community. Then, as the mayor says, this is our park. This is what people wanted. We engaged them. This is what they wanted. And so that's why we have the park. So I don't want that to turn out to be just like that. We have the steering committees. Hardly anybody shows up, and the staff and the study or the architect or the designers go and do exactly what they want. I have been sitting up here 5 years, and it seems like not heard over and over again. So we can hire all the master plans, we can all show up to the table, but guarantee you we're going to probably get in a duplicate plan of what they pulled off of Mesa or Scottsdale. They're going to drop it in our lap, and we're all going to agree with it, and we're going to go, yay, congratulations to us, put that up on the shelf because we can't afford anything that's in front of us. So that's why I'm saying our staff, I think our staff are engaged with our customers, they're engaged with the users, they know how many people. I don't understand. I can't do that. I can't hire somebody from out of town and come in and say, you know all my customers, you know everything about my soil, you know everything about my company, how I've run it, and tell me how to run my business. I can't do that. And that's all I'm asking for the staff to do, is do the jobs that I ask my employees to do, which is do your job.
All right. Is there any additional comments or entertain a motion?
Mayor, I
Koch?
just had a comment. I think probably the biggest piece for me on doing these plans, although they're expensive and it's what it is, I think the cost for the city to do anything is more expensive than it is if we would do it in private business. But being able to have a plan where we're being proactive in taking care of our parks and our amenities that we have down there. Our park department does a great job, but as a runner down in Rotary Park, I can tell you, you better watch the sidewalk because we have failing infrastructure down there. And it's just because there's so many people using the park because it's awesome and it's great. And why wouldn't you want to be down there? But much like the sewer project, much like our vehicle maintenance, much like all those things, we have to have a plan. We have to prepare to take care of these things before we're fixing things that are broken. If we can take care of them and be proactive, it's always less expensive. So although these plans are very expensive and nobody up here likes to spend money on them, and I understand that, I've also learned over the years that the cost for the city to do business is more than it is for private business. So unfortunately, that's my biggest part of seeing this, is to take the inventory of what we have and make sure we're taking care of what we have. I think that's one of the most important things before we even think about adding things in the capital improvement project. But that's just my opinion.
Thank you. I mean, and we also have been talking about this plan for 18 months. So none of us on this dais, just because it's here now and you have the price tag in front of us, this is not a surprise to any of us that we were planning to do. So our plan was to do this, and then we planned money to spend to do this, and now it's in front of us for the action for this to occur. So, and you know, we've been working with public stakeholders on this going forward. So, I mean, with that, if there is a motion, I'll entertain that.
Mayor, motion.
Councilmember Moses.
I move to award the professional service contract for the City Parks and Recreation Department Comprehensive Master Plan with Barry, Dunn, McNeil, and Parker, LLC, in the amount of $250,000 plus applicable taxes, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Moses, a second from Councilmember Dolan. We are ready to vote.
Motion carries 4-2.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to our next item, which is item 7.3, resolution number 26-3899, approving the 2025 water master plan. Mr. Kellett.
Oh, you started with the joke this time. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. It is my privilege to bring to you the 2025 Water Master Plan. This is an update to the 2019 Water Master Plan, but really it's actually a fresh look at a Water Master Plan. This is consistent with the effort we took for the wastewater system that you guys had approved in 2024. And now we're bringing you the completed Water Master Plan. I'm going to give you an introduction here, go through the idea of what is the plan, where we're going with this, and then I'll turn it over to Mark Elliott. He's with Jacobs Engineering, and they were the consultant firm that has had the not only the Water Master Plan previous versions, they were integral in the wastewater master plan, and they are the holders of our water model. So actually when developers are coming into town, they're the ones who do our water modeling. So they're very, very, very familiar with their system, and they've been here for years. So it's a good partnership putting those two together. But first, let's sort of set the stage. What is a master plan? Think about going on a long road trip. Let's say we're headed to, in this case, Grand Junction, Colorado. And there's multiple ways to go there. We can take the north or the south route or the central route. And this is what this master plan is going to do for you. It's going to give you a roadmap, and it's going to have different options, places to stop along the way, things we're going to need to evaluate as we go along. That's what you're doing in this. It's not saying exactly what's going to happen, but you're trying to prepare for those things that may happen. And in this particular plan, what you're going to see is a system review, because you can't really know what you're doing forward unless you kind of review what you have. You're also looking at that performance. How has the system been performing? Where are we seeing these lacks? Where are we seeing development needs? What is coming to our system that we need to start addressing? And then again, with any plan, we had to sort of set what our destination was. And our destination, we called it our planning horizon of 2040. And that's very on purpose, because that, again, lines up with the wastewater master plan, so that both of our utility systems are looking to 2040 as this planning horizon. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to, again, Mark with Jacobs, and he'll take you through the rest of the presentation.
Thanks, Tim. Mark Elliott, Principal Engineer with Jacobs. Honorable Mayor and Council, it's a pleasure to be once again out here presenting on the utility side. I think I'm just now reaching close to my 20th year of consulting for Lake Havasu City, and it's always great to be back. I love working and collaborating with your staff. Also have with us today our client account lead for all of Arizona, Farrah Yeager, from our Phoenix office, who helped contribute to the master plan. This is a little background, just set the stage. Your water system, as many of you are familiar with. In shaded colors there is the entire domestic water system. It's over 500 miles of pipeline. And the shaded areas are different pressure systems your city has to manage to get adequate service and quality to your customers. To do that, they have to manage a number of booster pump stations, reservoirs, pressure regulating station. It is a very complex system, and your operations folks do an excellent job managing water supply and pressures. Along the shoreline, there are your key water supply sources for the city. In the north, there are some conventional wells, which are known as the North Well Field. And on the island, we have a couple conventional wells as well. And then we have, also want to add, we have a large collector well, which is historically been one of your major supplies. And it is going through an upgrade and rehabilitation. And that I know has been front of the council recently. And it is one of the largest supply collector wells in the United States. And we are in the process of getting that back online. So why updating the 2019 master plan? These typically are updated every 5 to 10 years. And for the city, important we address recent growth and a lot of your planned developments. We continue to want to evaluate water supply, capacity, and resiliency of your system. This plan focused on your water treatment plant. It is over 20 years old and is in need of upgrades. We conducted a distribution system risk analysis to support renewal and replacement through your pipeline program. And as Tim mentioned, really develop a roadmap for your water system improvements in the coming years. And this document presents a draft 10-year capital improvement program for the water system. Master plans focus on forecasts of water usage or wastewater. This is the same graph you saw in the wastewater master plan. It looks at population through our planning period of 2040. And the city has historically, the last 10 years or so, averaged just under 1% growth. But recently it's upticked to around just 1%. And so we look at a bracket of what that population range may be at 2040 and what that means in terms of water usage. This graph is on the vertical axis is million gallons a day during a summer. This is what we design water supply, water treatment plants for, is your hot summer day. This is a projection through 2040, what that scenario is going to look like. The lower graph is if we have a 7% growth rate and a certain per capita consumption. We also looked at the high end. The good news to report out is the horizontal line is 80% of your water treatment plant capacity. And by 2040, we are either right at or well below that. And the good news is you have another 5 to 10 years that you can just continue to monitor your treatment plant capacity. You're in good shape from a treatment capacity perspective. And switching from the treatment to the supply sources, we've continued to make investments. And when we look at 2040 needs, this graph, not getting too much into the details, but it shows the flexibility of different combinations of water supply sources for the city. That could be the north well field. It could be the collector well. It could be a combination of well. The good news is you have a lot of supply flexibility, which provides resilience in your water supply. The 2019 master plan provided a program and a roadmap. And the good news to report out is your city, your water staff has done an excellent job continuing to implement these important projects. This includes your annual pipeline replacement, tank rehabs. We've done a lot of upgrades to your SCADA. And one of the most important recommendations last master plan was improved supply resiliency. And that's showcased here by one of your new supply wells near the public works yard. And that's what allowed us to do the rehab work on the collector well. And kudos to your city staff for getting those projects done. So for this master plan, the investments that we see needed are continue on the water supply reliability. As we have growth and we look at resiliency in your system, there are some storage projects recommended and continue to rehabilitate tanks. The good news is your pumping to go up these hills is in good shape from a capacity standpoint. And then this plan does focus on the water treatment plant and also will continue to recommend upgrades to the piping system. This number summary here, the dollar summary here is just in 2 5-year CIP increments, breaking it down by supply, storage, your treatment plant, and your distribution system. And lastly, this is a timeline over the next 10 years in dollars of your capital investment spend on the water side. This is our recommendation based on the findings of the report. This will provide, again, a roadmap or each annual CIP budget, recommendations for projects, and these always can be adjusted based on the capital needs each fiscal year. So with that, that concludes our presentation. As always, I've enjoyed presenting with the city and look forward to continue to support the city on water and wastewater. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Are there questions from members of the council? Vice Mayor Diaz?
Can you go back to slide number 6? Just want to make sure I was reading that correctly.
Yep.
So, you're saying by 2040 we're going to be at 70,000 people? Is
that is, if you use a 1% growth over year, yes, it is.
We're about 60,000 now, are we not?
Correct.
It's 14 years, only 10,000 more. Huh?
That's if you do a 1% year over year, that's what it ends up being. Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay. And then on the last slide, kind of keep going. That very last slide. There.
That one. This one.
Can you tell me, as the population grows and so forth, why does it go with seesaw up and down, up and down, up and down?
That's a great question. Those 2 years that look pretty high, it's certain well supply projects. So if we do need to re-drill wells, which will be coming up, you're looking at about a $3 to $4 million investment per well that we have to do. So you hit those wells at certain times. That's where you see it spike all of a sudden. And the big spike that's kind of right on the end of this 10-year horizon that you don't see in this is that secondary treatment plant that we've been hinting at and noticing right at the end of this planning horizon ends up being probably around a $500,000 study. This is going to be a siting study that we're going to need to do to figure out where to put it. And then you're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of $140 million to build the plant. It's 10, 15 years out, but we're just telling you This is what we see coming. It's out there and it needs to be known now instead of 2 years before we need it. So it's not on this graph because we put it into 10-year increments this 10-year increment to make a little more sense. But that hopefully explains the seesaw.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Moses?
Yeah, thank you. So we went through a rate study not too long ago, over a course of a couple of years. Are there any outliers from what we anticipated back then versus what we're seeing now with this new water master plan?
The only thing I would mention on that part is that the rate study was a fantastic move by council to set a 5-year rate cases. That was one of the best things you could have done to help the water system. The unfortunate part is the water system was already far behind that study, to the tune of millions and millions of dollars of deferred infrastructure repairs over the years. This one is doing the best it can with the money available. So we're trying to target the best value for each dollar we have to us. And we did make an assumption that water rates would continue to increase per council's approval, of course, but in somewhere in the neighborhood of a 2 to 10% year over year. It kind of depends on how, your inflation factors go and what the appetite is. Generally speaking, it's around a 5% rate increase per year.
Councilmember Campbell?
Mayor, does this take into effect current usage? Because when I first got on council, they're like, oh, we can build Havasu out to 90,000 people. You can't look at that because in one weekend, we can have 90,000 people here from summer to winter. So I'm assuming that your data that you're collecting are based on the population today and what we're using, which will grow from one weekend to the next. It's got to be a couple year data collection, not just I need to know how much we're using by the gallon right now. I want to know, and I'm assuming this is where your data has been collected,
Correct.
And not just go back on personal population of people that say they live here when some of them they have second homes, and it's inefficient data when it comes to population base.
So we do cheat a little on this one. Full transparency, we look at wastewater data to understand our population dynamics, because you can have as many people as you want potentially in town on a winter day or on a summer day. Their water usage may change quite a bit. If you want to know how many people are in town, it's the wastewater flows that tell us exactly how many people are in town. So we know that our numbers are good there as far as how many people are actually using water at that time. We kind of translate that data into water usage. And that's where you get this graphic that I put back on the screen of the range. We've seen the population use around 175 gallons per person per day. So if we take that low end of only a 0.7 growth year over year and the 175, that's how we get to that just over 21 million or just over 20 million demand. If we get the other end, which we've also seen of 216 gallons per person per day and a 1% growth, then we get to that bigger number. So we did use what we've seen historically, numbers we have realized in our own data that we think account for the fluctuation in population. I don't want to call it transient population, but the non-full-time population. It is accounted for in this kind of exercise.
I appreciate that. And why I find a study like this so valuable to our city, because the level of expertise to do what you're doing or the study is doing is vital to our system. How many kids are playing in a baseball field is not as important to me. I think a staff could do that by collecting their own data. But this information right here is the roadmap. I know that it will incorporate with our GIS maps for future growth. So when a developer comes in and wants to buy a parcel of property, we can look at those GIS maps and make a really strong analysis of how much is he going to bring to the table, because this lift station and this lift station is going to come into place. We cannot be reactive when it comes to water, sewer. The water and sewer is more important than even the gravel that we put on our roads. I'm not so worried about our roads per se. It's what's underneath them. But we need to keep all of them safe as well, which is the potholes and they're very dangerous to people. So I find this data very, I would pay $200. What did we pay for this study?
$225,000.
That is worth it to me. Thank you much.
And just on that, because you were making the note, the note that I made about them having the water model, we ran the water model against where we think people will be coming. So like if there are more homes in the foothill area, we ran the model to say, when would they be there? How big would the system need to be? The waterfront project, we know that's a project. We modeled that already. We know what we need in that area to make that happen. So that is part of this exercise. We are guessing where people are going to develop, right? We don't know for sure, but we do know what zoning is, and we incorporated that into this plan as well.
And when we get the general plan is supposed to be biggest and best uses for some of these zoned areas. Those is something that we should continue to comply with as a council and a staff. We should encourage that. And as we do that, we can continue. As soon as that general plan goes on there, I'm sure there could be even some more modeling to take a look at, they want this to be an industrial zone or this to be a commercial, multifamily residential. This is residential only. These are really important to roads. That goes back to that planning thing. I think it's mind-blowing that we don't have a plan in place. And as a developer, I'm going to use Havasu Heights. You show up and nobody in the county is all looking at each other like, well, are we going to have to put a street light in? Well, I don't know. Maybe. Are we going to have to widen the road? I don't know. Or well, what do we have to do to the fire department? Should we do some things to that? Maybe. And we talk about trying to make housing more affordable. Well, our first step is to give developers the tools and that they can click on our general map and go, wow, this is going to be a multi-use project. Oh, wow. I see in 5 years, we're going to have to, that road's going to need to be widened. That infrastructure is going to be need to place. And that is going to help in the long term. I am so thankful for this. I am so thankful for the directions that we're going. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments before we open the public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the City Council on this item? Yeah, please.
Deborah Hunter. And I read in Friday's edition of your paper that Arizona is looking at a 77% cut in the water. Where does the water come from?
Yeah, so right now the 7 basin states are working on the operating guidelines for the system, the upper basin and lower basin. And so that's a conversation on that component of it. What we have is we have water allocation through the Bureau of Reclamation through a contract, and our contract is still in place. And so as these conversations are happening, one of the modeling that the federal government has done would indicate a 77% cut to the state of Arizona, as was reported in the newspaper, but those are not final decisions. There's several different models. There's actually an environmental impact study comment period that's ongoing right now with comments due next week as part of that process. So if anyone would like to engage in that conversation separate from our water plan study that we're talking about today, you can do that by submitting comments to the Bureau of Reclamation. Would anyone else like to address the City Council on this item? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council for any discussion or possible motion. All right, Vice Mayor Diaz.
I move to adopt resolution number 26-3899, approving the 2025 Water Master Plan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Vice Mayor Diaz, a second from Councilmember Campbell. Is there any additional discussion? I can't help myself, but it's amazing what just a few different words in front of the word master plan do between one item to the next. So I think we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. All right, the next item on our agenda is Item 7.4, ordinance number 26-1378, amending City Code Section Chapter 11.10.030, location and relocation of facilities and public rights-of-way regarding damage to city rights-of-way and facilities. Mr. Young.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. We're here to hopefully do the finalization of this ordinance. It helps us, let's go with PCI first. We've been doing a lot of asphalt in the city over the past 3 years, putting down new asphalt. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. We've been doing a lot of work in the last 3 years laying down new asphalt over the city, and we would like to protect that new asphalt. Our current PCI is 66 throughout the city, and we would like to keep improving that. When we put down new asphalt and people start cutting into it right away, that lowers the PCI. So we like to get it back, the new asphalt, to as close to perfect as possible. This new ordinance will allow us to do that. It also speaks to proper compaction of getting tests done every foot and bringing it up to level, compacted properly so that we don't have sinking patches within 1 to 5 years as well. So I think we have all the tools needed to get this done. All we need is your approval. I'll take any questions with that.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Other questions or comments from members of the council?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to thank staff for all their hard work putting this together. I think this is definitely a way for us to protect our city assets that we have. And I thank you guys for seeing what other cities do and putting all this together. So thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Dolan has been working on this topic for several years. So this is actually called the Dolan.
I was going to say, yeah. Thank you to Jim for working on this.
Yeah, you have done. You advocated on
always
this
been so
for a long
passionate.
time.
So
Yes.
appreciate it and glad we finally got it done.
Yes. Councilmember Campbell?
Congratulations, Kent. While I have you up here, what has happened to that patch that's on the corner of Acoma and Mesquite? You know, Mesquite runs into Acoma right before the curve, before we come to this lovely building that we're in. It's a heck of a patch right there. What is going on there?
Swanson?
Coma and Mesquite.
Swanson, excuse me, not Mesquite. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
That is Unisource getting ahead of the plan. So when we lay the new asphalt, they put in their new hookups so that everything can be done when the new asphalt goes in.
So they will be responsible for this new process on how to do that? Or are we just waiting for when we do the Acoma mill and fill over the top of the infrastructure that we're doing?
That will be patched properly before we do it. And then when the mill and fill comes in, we'll
because it needs to be compacted before we do that, or else then it's back to Dolan's going to fall in the hole again. All right. Thank you much.
All right. Any additional questions or comments before we open the public hearing? All right. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Dolan?
love to make a motion.
Please.
I move to adopt ordinance number 26-1378, amending city code section 11.10.030, location and relocation of facilities and public right-of-way.
I'll second Jim's ordinance number 261378.
We have a motion from Councilmember Dolan, a second from Councilmember Moses. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we are ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Item 7.5 is the cooperative purchases of emergency medical supplies from Bound Tree Medical LLC. Chief Palafis.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, public. Before you, I want to just make sure that this is a newer item that we're working with procurement and finance in regards to our cooperative purchase for emergency medical services supplies from Bound Tree. To consider the approval for a cumulative cooperative purchase agreement greater than the city manager's expenditure threshold for emergency medical with Bound Tree. We currently use cooperative purchases, and this one's the contract is through Tempe. We piggyback off them. We're going to exceed the threshold over $100,000 for this year. Now, our contract with this cooperative purchase goes until September 30th of 2029. So what you're going to approve is the medical supply, the critical essential equipment that we use for our ambulances and our fire engines and trucks to serve our community. This is the equipment that we use. We purchase it as a city to use on the 6,500 calls that we go for emergency medical services. So what you're going to be approving is the routine purchases of emergency medical supplies from Bound Tree LLC exceeding the expenditure threshold, but not to exceed the annual department budget, which is in the fire department, for the duration of the cooperative purchase agreement. So I won't be back up here until 2029 unless I exceed this. So this allows us to use what was approved in our budget for our supplies in the amount of exceeding the 100,000 to properly support our ambulance transport and our first responder program for the medical and supplies that we use on our patients. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. I just wanted to make sure that I was really clear with this item.
Thank you, Chief. Are there questions from members of the council for the chief on this item? Yeah, Vice Mayor Diaz.
Just one quick question. I had a citizen ask this question. So these supplies, are they stored in one's certain warehouse, or does each fire station have their own? And is there like a checkout when they say I need X, Y, and Z? Do they verify what goes in and what goes out?
Vice Mayor Diaz, we have two locations. They're at Station 1 and Station 2. Those are where our house our ambulances. And we do have minor supplies at the essential supplies at the stations that are inventoried and make sure that they're accounted for at each of the station. But it's purchased from the city to provide this service to our community. But they are accounted for.
Yeah, Chief, add to that question is we purchase these like on a monthly basis or a quarter. We don't buy the whole.
No, we buy them. It's supply and demand. We use a just-in-time inventory like Toyota. So when we need it, we order it, and we have a pretty complex system with Boundtree that allows us when our inventory gets low, they ship it.
Great. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, perfect. Any other questions or comments from members of the council? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion or possible motion. Yeah, Vice Mayor Diaz.
I motion to, hold on a second. I move to approve routine purchases for emergency medical supplies from Bound Free Medical LLC, exceeding the expenditure threshold, but not to exceed the annual department budget for the duration of the cooperative purchase agreement.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Diaz, a second from Councilmember Campbell. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6
Yes, sir.
to 0.
All right. Item 7.6 is a cooperative purchase of one 2026 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 service body from Midway Chevrolet from the fire department. Chief Palafis.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, public, this is an exciting project. Purchase, let's say. This is a 2026 Chevy 3500 crew cab 4x4, not a dually, 1 ton, that is going to be used as a squad. Now, this squad is going to replace the conventional way that we are operating with our big fire trucks and engines responding to emergency medical calls. So we're utilizing this vehicle. I assimilate it as bringing the correct tools to the correct call. Instead of responding with the truck or engine, we're going to respond with this utility vehicle. Now, I do have in the next year's budget our program set for this. I needed to purchase this vehicle to start the program and then get further acceptance with it. But we will be utilizing this, and it's a change in the fire department, how we deploy our resources. I do get a lot of questions, and I just want to elaborate why you see an engine and ambulance on most of our calls. We have an older adult population that have chronic diseases and serious health conditions that require a proper resource for survivability rate. I just received a great letter today from City Manager Knutson about a life that we saved. It was a younger individual, a little bit, younger than me, but we send 2 rigs, was in cardiac arrest. We brought the person back. That's priceless. Now, with this vehicle, it's going to allow us, and I'm going to run it during our peak times. And in our study, this was one of the recommendations in our 1 to 3 year plan. So we do use studies, and I've been following that study and checking off the boxes. Just like with the CON, the ambulance transport program, providing the correct services, because we are the sole provider for emergency medical service and fire protection and all hazards here in the city. This additional resources is going to better utilize our efficiency, bringing the right tools to the right call and saving the wear and tear and mileage on our main assets that are close to $1.5 and $2 million. We use those for when we need them. So this purchase, this program, again, was one of the recommendations in my study that I am following and we are using. We knew that we needed to do this. You're giving me the tools to properly serve this community. I have a dedicated staff that does a great job in serving our community. And I appreciate your support in purchasing. And this is outfitted with lights and sirens and the service box and not a dually for $107,973.19. This investment is a great investment for our community to serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, you're making former Councilmember Dean Barlow very happy. He used to, every time we'd roll out a big rig for a call like that, he would want something done. He's no longer with us, but you're making him very happy. And if we approve this, Councilmember Koch.
Mayor, I just have a question. Great program. Very excited. for a number of reasons, but is this going to shave off any time at all for response times? So I would imagine that getting the big rig ready to leave and coming to a site would be slower than being able to just jump in here and leave. So is that going to give you any benefit on a response time?
It is going to benefit our response time, but this vehicle is going to be in our peak demand areas. So we have the data. I know most of the individuals call 911 Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. This rig is going to be in the peak time when I need additional resources. Now, you're going to still see the engines roll out on the south side where Station 3 is, up north, where this is going to be centrally located, where I know the hot spots of where people call for 911. I've been here for 6 years. We've ran the data. We understand where the majority of our calls are at, and this is where we're going to utilize it. We've already improved our response time with the great purchase that we approved last year for our new station alerting system and our CAD system that we have in place. Our processes times are improving all the time. So, and Station 7 is going to improve it even more.
Any other questions or comments for?
Sorry, that was a
Vice
long
Mayor Diaz.
Answer. Chief, is it going to be a two-man response?
The thing is, initially during the pilot program, it's going to be a two-person up, firefighter, paramedic, and paramedic, or two paramedics. I'm also going to utilize this as a third ambulance when my resources are needed. So it's given me many options to deploy our resources and meet the demand of our customers.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Councilmember Dolan.
I just want to thank you too. Just like I said, I like the fact that we're sending out, the fire truck is a very, very, very expensive piece of equipment that we put a lot of mileage on. And it is mainly designed for fires, of course, but I like the fact that when we're not responding to fires, to other calls, we can send out a little bit more economic vehicles and, two people that then they can respond and we can able to, do that. So I do appreciate you bringing this to us, especially, like I said, even following up from the ambulance service that we did. I think this is a huge service to the city and I appreciate it.
Thank you. And just remember, you're going to see the squad with an ambulance too. So.
All right. This is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And Councilmember Moses, did you have a comment or?
Yeah, I did. Chief, is this going to have to increase the given number of firefighters that you have on any given shift?
Well, the thing is, during the pilot program, it's going to increase during the peak time, which I'm going to utilize overtime for that to get the data, showing the program is successful.
Okay. And then when it is, you might anticipate needing?
Absolutely. But at least I have the data and it's evidence-based that it's showing that it's working. Right. And I'm going to work with Fleet to see where the reduce in my fuel consumption, my repair consumption. You do have bright individuals that work for you that know what we're doing and are professional and going to make sure that we get all the necessary information to make data-driven decisions, what's best for our community.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional comments or entertain a motion?
Motion.
Yeah, Councilmember Moses.
I move to approve the cooperative purchase of one 2026 Chevrolet 3500 Silverado service body truck, not a dually, from Midway Chevrolet in the amount of $107,973.19.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Moses and a second from Councilmember Koch. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And then our final public hearing is a cooperative purchases of services and parts with Freightliner of Arizona DBA Velocity Truck Centers. Welcome back, Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I just want to say thank you to Pete. Long before he even came, myself and Fleet Supervisor Don Gable have wanted this. And when he told me he was going for it, I about fell out of my seat. So this is an absolute A-plus move.
Thank you.
So back to Velocity, which also includes Pete a little bit here. This has been kind of a rough year for Lake Havasu City Fleet Department and its emergency vehicle technicians. I currently have one 71-year-old part-time guy helping keep my fire trucks together. and Pete's fire trucks together. We just got a new hire, which is going to take some training, and one of my other new hires is coming back from an injury, so hopefully we're getting on the right path. But these incidents and some expensive repairs, thankfully we have a good partnership with Velocity, but they have been handling a lot of work for us, including the ARF truck that's I'm hearing almost ready to come home. So a lot of good things come from them, but this year we normally don't come as close to 100,000 in repairs and parts from them, but this year we're heading that direction quick. So I'm really up here just to get permission from you to exceed 100,000, but not to go over the budgeted amount within the city. So I'll take any questions with that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Young. Are there questions from members of the council for Mr. Young on this item? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for any discussion or possible motion. Yeah, Councilmember Koch?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, please.
I move to approve the routine purchases for parts and service from Freightliner of Arizona, DBA Velocity Truck Centers, exceeding the expenditure threshold, but not to exceed the annual departmental budgets for the duration of the cooperative purchase agreement.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Koch, a second from Vice Mayor Diaz. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is item 8. This is the call to the public. This is where citizens have the opportunity to address the city council on items within the jurisdiction of Lake Havasu City. Your comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and we do ask if you have any comments that you just direct them directly to the council. With that, just make your way to the podium and state your name for the record.
How you doing? My name is Bob Bindles. I want to come and talk to you folks about getting a local ordinance or law put in our books to prevent any parallel law or legal system here in Havasu. Meaning, Sharia law is killing a lot of our country. I want to put a law on the books, get one going, that will not ever allow Sharia law to be put in the Havasu ordinance or law. We see what's happened in New York. We see what's happened in New Jersey, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Texas, all those places, and we don't need that here in our town. It hasn't happened yet, but let's put it in the books. It's not a big deal. You guys can have a meeting, council, put it together, vote on it. Now it's established that Sharia law, and there's a website you can look up, ALAC, A-L-A-C. It's American Laws for American Courts. It's just that simple. You can look that up, get that done, and it's better to be proactive than be reactive in a situation like this, that if those folks want to come in and establish a site, is what they call it, and then get their Sharia law going, then it's really hard to battle it. So if we put it in now, it'll discourage them from trying to get a community and their Sharia law in our town. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the city council or call to the public?
Hello, Mayor, City Council. It's Bonnie Toy. I, of course, walked up here tonight because I enjoy walking. Walking is a gift for anybody who doesn't walk. I just would like to encourage you to walk. And I know that on this weekend, Thursday or Friday, McCulloch is supposed to be shut down. Whenever McCulloch is shut down, the crosswalks I don't know about Mesquite as much as I do about Swanson because I live on that side of Smoke Tree, but the Smoke Tree crosswalk is very dangerous. Smoke Tree and Swanson is very dangerous at night whenever there's a huge event on McCulloch. And I know I've suggested before that maybe you had lights put up in place or police officers guiding the traffic. But another thought that occurred to me the other day was you might need it on both Smoke Tree and Swanson and Smoke Tree and Mesquite is that horrible, that wonderful, amazing, beautiful crosswalk on Acoma and whatever street it is that never gets used next to just before Palo Verde, the one that's on the way to Smoke Tree School. It rarely gets used on Acoma, but I would think that that crosswalk would be beneficial to Mesquite and Swanson on Smoke Tree, because when people are trying to cross into the crosswalks, especially on busy nights, the lights would be flashing for people to see that there are people on the crosswalk. And thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the city council? I'm saying you just get one opportunity. Yes, but we'll be here after as well. We'll be around after. All right, would anyone else like to address us during call to the public? All right, we'll go ahead and close the call to the public. Item 9 are current events. Are there any council committee reports? Vice Mayor Diaz?
Yeah, so just to get it out there, so we had a Gull Lake Havasu board meeting last Wednesday, and then a couple of days later, it was announced that Sean Buckley, the current CEO, is going to be, he tendered his resignation. It'll be like 60 days. So the mayor's been gracious enough to, I met with the mayor a couple of days later, and we're going to ask for a agenda item for a discussion at a future council meeting in March to talk about the Gull Lake Havasu contract and the situation and so forth, to get everything out in the open and be transparent. So the mayor's been gracious to allow that to happen. He's going to help me facilitate that. Just wanted to get that out there to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Diaz. Councilmember Campbell?
Mayor, I'm really impressed with what Sarah, our new MPO director, has put out in the Metropolitan Planning Organization, is what that means, that they have a survey out. You can go on to the Lake Havasu City Municipal Government site, and it's what transportation improvements mean to you. It's a very interactive map, kind of the GIS maps that I talk about all the time. It shows bike path potential. Have the conversation with us now. We're engaging with you. I've shared it on my page as well. What happens a lot of times, we put this out years in advance, and then as soon as we stripe something, here comes the floodgates of concerns and complaints. So if you know bike riders and if you know pedestrians, and look at all the roads and infrastructure that they're recommending that we can improve potentially through striping. I can sit back and tell you on the highway where I'd be interested in turning lanes. Let's have the discussion. Let's not be reactive. And I think this is a great way. I know sometimes people say social media is not a good way to communicate. I find it to be an awesome way to communicate because I can get this information into the hands of a lot of people. Obviously, there's many that are just there to be a problem, but I'm asking everybody to get online, go to these websites, take a look at what the plans are. It's a great plan they put in place. Let's engage the citizens now so that I don't get told like Councilmember Moses is getting that I'm an idiot for my ideas, and then we'll have to tell them they're idiot back. So if we want to have the conversation, have it now, have it open, because that's how we can set a plan. And then hopefully when the Metropolitan Planning Organization gets their 5 and 10 year plan all set, hopefully we can drop that into those GIS maps as well. And we can have a really good visual of what 5 and 10 years look like from now. So those are good things. And I appreciate all the work that the Metropolitan Planning Organization is doing. And if you are a bike path person, you probably need to get engaged now.
Councilmember Moses?
Yeah, I just report that there is no report. We had it was our first off month of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board per council action. We'll be firing it up next month though. So I'll tell you how things are going then.
Yeah, thank you. All right, item 10, future meetings. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. It's a regular meeting. And then on Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. we will also have a regular meeting. Item 11, are there any future discussion items? Item 12, before we do, happy anniversary, Councilmember Dolan, to.
Was that today?
I think something special for you. Yes.
I was half expecting Miss Dolan to come up during call to public for grievances.
Yes. So, yeah, happy anniversary to Councilmember Dolan and his wife, Hannah. So, all right, we are adjourned. Be kind. We'll see you next time.